Hello, it's the Friday Talkie, or at the rate I'm going at the moment, it might be the Saturday Speaky, because I'm running late. I'll tell you why later on. First things first, I am going to respond to Ed T featuring TheGameManDan, their Top 3 Tuesday. Ed has really hit on something with these Top 3 Tuesdays. Number of people responding to these videos is incredible, so well done, Ed. Now, Ed has got it written as your top 3 coolest looking consoles, whereas TheGameManDan says top 3 looking systems. So I'm going to go, I'm not just going to do consoles here, I'm going to do my top 3 favourite console, computer and handheld, just to be awkward. I think I'm going to start with my favourite handheld, which is that. It's the Game Boy Advance SP with the tribal pattern. This one's actually a little bit scratched up. I made the mistake of putting it in my pocket. Yes, it's a very pocketable thing. Unfortunately, I had keys in the pocket and had forgotten, so it got a bit scratched up. These are a lot less rugged than the original. I'm looking up there because I've got an original up there. The original Game Boy Advance, but as a design it's just vastly better. And I just find that gorgeous. It is not just because of the pattern, though that helps, that the black on silver is really cool, but it's the compactness, the clever design of it, the layout and everything. To me, if this had a decent screen, and yes, I know they do make backlit ones as well, but I haven't got one, and I've got 3 SPs now. I'm not going to buy another. Yeah, if these had had a better screen, they would be absolutely perfect. And it is still my favourite handheld. I mean, I've got like PSPs and a DS Lite and a whole bundle of other handhelds, but that will always be my favourite, just because it's the perfect balance of like pocketability and power and the right kind of games for using when you're out and needing a handheld. But that's not what this is all about. It's purely about what do they look like, and to me that is just bloody gorgeous. It's near perfection to my eyes. Love it. Favourite console? Atari 2600 Vader. I know to purists this is not really the real deal. They would prefer a Woody or a heavy sixer, and I have a heavy sixer, and it doesn't even have 6 switches on the front, it's only got 4. I don't care. That is black and it's gorgeous. I mean, they are so well named, being called the Vader. It's kind of sci-fi-ish. It made it look more modern. In the 83 I got this. By 83 the Woodies were looking dated and clunky, and then they brought this out and it was like, oh, that's modern looking. Well, it's kind of retro looking now, but there is something sleek about it, something a little bit menacing, a little bit Blake 7 about it, I think. I love the way it looks. I mean, there are a lot of really cool looking consoles out there, and I did have a hard time choosing, because I love the way the Scorpion 8 looks. I thought about that. I love the Virtual Boy for that Star Trek original series Mr. Spock's thing that he looks into feel of it. I love the 3DO Panasonic FZ1 for the funny pillars on each corner. And the Neo Geo AES just for being gorgeous. But this, I mean, it's partly nostalgia, I think, because I had it in 83, but I don't even, I mean, it is a silly design decision to put the joystick ports on the back. I don't know what they were thinking of there, but for the overall look, gorgeous. So my final one is a computer. Oh, it weighs a bit. That, to my mind, as a gaming object, system we'll call it, they just don't come any prettier than that. That is the MTX 512 by Mematech. Black anodized aluminium. Is the camera focusing? Maybe. It's just dusty. Yeah. The black contrasting with the white on the keys and that red line and the font they used to write the name of it on there. Everything about it, and empty holes for ports there, but there's nothing in them. Aluminium top and bottom. Weighs for the size of it, this weighs a lot. It's heavy. You know you've got a serious piece of kit, apparently. It's a weird and quirky thing. I've got videos of the games for it on my channel if you look in the playlists. This to me, yeah, they just, I mean, it was kind of, I thought about the Enterprise 64 for a bit because they do look cool. But this just pips it for being that much more classy. It even smells nice. Yeah, that really... No other... I mean, I've got so many computers and they've all got their own distinct smells. Some of them, anyway. None of them... I mean, it's just... Yeah, have a sniff. It's great. It's awesome. I love it. I'm going to add something here as well, because I'm going to show you what I think is the ugliest game system ever made. It's a Grandstand SD070. It's just called color programmable on here. It's that. What were they thinking? This is just about pre-Atari 2600. I think this is from 1976. Give or take a little bit. I think it beat the 2600 to market just about. The games on it are bloody awful. And it is hideous. It is, to my mind, just the ugliest games console you can lay your hands on. I'm quite pleased I got it, because there is a certain novelty value to it. You know, it is not only ugly, but the games are hideous and crap and not fun. Having said all of that, it comes with these, which are slightly dusty. Only dusted the other day. The best single button joystick I have ever used. It's analog, self-centering. The feel of that is fantastic. It works really well when you play a game. Unfortunately, the game will be crap, but you'll be able to control it nicely. I mean, at first glance you think, yeah, it's just an Atari joystick. This is so much better than an Atari joystick. The unfortunate thing about it is it's you would expect like a 9-pin Atari style thing, but it's not, so you can't plug that into any other joystick port that you might have on a more useful console or computer. Shame, because I would love to use these on a lot of games. Brilliant. Crappy console, really ugly, great joystick. So, that is my response to a EDT1138, EDT1138, and TheGameManDan. Link to the original video down there. Now, yes, I want to say a thank you, and I've got to look to read how to pronounce this, because it's God, how do you pronounce this? Longrodvonhugendon. If I'm not pronouncing that right, my apologies. He sent me this, which is a tank plain. I can't quite read it. It's a cartridge. I'm going to guess it's like Combat for the Atari. For the that thing up there, Radofin. Yeah, also goes in. Oh God, it's written on here. The Princetronic and Micro. Yeah, loads. Acetronic. I've only got one, or only had one cartridge for that so far, which was a Space Invaders, so I look forward to having a go on here. It arrived this morning, so I haven't tried it out yet. So, a very big thank you to, I can't pronounce that, longrodvonhugendon. Big thank you. Really appreciate it. I will do a video of this. It might go up this week coming. I will talk about this week coming shortly because it's not going to be your standard week. Okay, in other topics. Alright. Sony. Microsoft as well, but Sony. I want to talk about what they're doing. Mutterings, rumours, and things that I've read and other people have read. They've done a couple of things. They have applied for a patent or something like that for in-game advertising, and the way they describe it is in the middle of a game, the game will pause and an advert will pop up and display, and then the game will resume. And they've applied for a patent for this, and I am horrified. I don't know if this is for on the PS3 or for on their next console. I'm horrified. So you're gonna buy your game, you pay for it, they get their money. That's how sales works. That's how the market works. They make it, you pay for it, it's yours, you play it. That's how things used to be anyway. Now it would appear that they make it, you pay for it, so they got their money, but then they're going to make more money by sticking adverts in the middle of your game while you play it. No, I don't want any part of that. If they start doing that, I will never buy a game that is interrupted by adverts. I don't mind in-game adverts where there are like banners within the game place, you know, product placement. I've got no problem with that. Billboards on, I don't know, street scenes in 3D games, stuff like, no problem. TV playing within a 3D space with an advert running on that, no problem. But you stop my game while I'm playing it and bung an advert in front of me and that game's going in the bin. Absolutely not. Will not put up with that kind of bullshit. Another thing they're doing, and I think here it's not, the advertising is greed. And I think stupidity, because I don't think people will put up with it. I hope not. They're doing something else, which I think they think they're being clever. I also think they're being stupid. And this is Microsoft and Sony. They're looking into partnering up with streaming game services. Ray Pocket Mego did a video about this, which I watched last night. I'd heard a little bit about it before this as well. I don't know if one of the services will be oh crap, what are they called? Forgotten, blanked. But you know the thing where the game is not playing on your console, it's being streamed down your broadband connection. All the processing is done on a server, and all your console does is display it and send your controls up and down the interwebs, which means that you can have some graphics that are vastly superior to what the hardware you're using is capable of. I've got to Google it now. What's that stupid bloody little thing called? There we go. OnLive. Yes. Are they teaming up with OnLive? Don't know. But it sounds like the service they're looking into is like OnLive. Their idea being that they're kind of competing with the Wii U? I don't know. So you can have next generation graphics on current generation console by doing all the processing off-site, you know, on some server. I see two problems with this. The first problem, I think, is it won't work for a lot of people. I've used OnLive here, and the graphics were very impressive in that there are lots of very good textures, lots of fancy lighting, fancy physics, complex models, the kind of thing my PC can't do. However, the image resolution was piss poor, there just wasn't enough bandwidth to have a really high definition image. And that to me is no good. I mean, I've got a 5 megabit connection. If you're gonna compete with a next generation console in terms of physics and all the fancy things, but then stick it on a low definition image, it's just going to be stupid. It won't cut it, to my mind. So bandwidth is going to be an issue to this plan, I think. There aren't enough people, certainly not in the UK, with enough bandwidth to make it worthwhile. It will, to my mind, look inferior to a PS3 game. Certainly the OnLive experience I had, while if what I'd been playing had been in high definition, it would have been better than my PS3. But it wasn't. It was low definition, and so it looked worse than my PS3. And if Sony think this is going to be like a good stopgap, they're kidding themselves. Anyway, if I'm wrong and they can make it work, they're stupid. Because they're bringing out a PS4. Why would you want to give people the opportunity to play next generation quality games on your current generation console when you want to sell a next generation console within the next year or two? You're butchering your own market, and that to me is not good business at all. So Sony, stop being twats, stop ripping us off, stop coming up with the stupid ideas, produce some good games, produce some good hardware, and stop being a bunch of bleeding pillocks. Okay, that's that. I've got a whole load of things to talk about and trying to work out how to fit them all together. Last week I talked about the whole YouTube unsubbing bug thing that was upsetting a lot of people. It would appear to have fairly sorted itself out to a degree. They're not wiping people off of people's subscriber lists willy-nilly now. Then my sub count is going up again gradually at long last. Shaurz came up with a really cool thing, because I said it can be difficult to keep track of your subs, who you're subbed to know if you've been unsubbed from anyone that you didn't plan. And shaurz has got a script on a website that he made, and it's really cool because you just put in your username and it will tell you who you're subscribed to. It's got a few details on there like when you subscribed. I would ignore that because it doesn't appear to be accurate, and that I don't think is the fault of the script at all. That's just the way YouTube work. Their records are shite. But it's a really cool tool. It's really quick. You just put your name in and bam, there it is, listed all of the channels you're subscribed to. I'm finding it very useful. I will link to it down there. Big thanks to shaurz for, well, letting me tell you about it and for doing it in the first place, because it's really cool. I've used it. I will continue to make use of it. Right. I was going to say I've learned some things about how YouTube have changed their whole with the scrubbing of dead channels and all of that lot. There are other things that have happened. They have changed their algorithm. Part of how channels are selected, or how videos are selected to go in the related videos that goes down the side. It used to be that the videos that got clicked on the most were the ones that would get put in the side there. That was how they decided what was popular. That's changed, and they're now basing that on how much of a video people watch, whether they watch a few seconds and click away or whether they watch the whole thing, and they're using that to decide, is this video popular, is it good, and that's how they rate things to put in the sidebar thingy. And this is something I'm kind of keeping in mind with what's going to be coming up. And I'm going to have to tell you what's coming up now because it relates to that, because it's not actually more of the same. First of all, the collection video is not going to be what I had originally planned, keeping in mind that because of the way YouTube are now deciding what's popular and what's not, based on how long people are watching them, and if they're watching the whole thing or not, if I did this collection video the way I had originally planned, it would have lasted over an hour. Possibly, it would have been stupidly long. Now, given that last week's Friday Talkie was 47 minutes and took me 7 hours to upload, I just can't... uploading that would be a nightmare. But that aside, I think it would suffer for being so long. So, what I'm going to do is kind of part of what it was originally going to be, where first of all I sit and talk to the screen, camera thing a little bit, and then I walk around and show all of my systems. I've got some of that recorded already. What I was then going to do was look at each individual system and give a brief overview without going into real detail, just talk a little bit about it. And all of that, I mean, that was like 90, 100 systems, was all going to be in one video. Not doing that now. I shall have the first two bits, the brief introduction talking bit and the looking at all the systems. And then I'm going to do a quick overview of every system, but I'm going to release those as separate videos. I'm going to do one a day. It's going to be like system of the day, quick overview, 2-3 minutes, something like that. Little bit of detail about each system, and that's going to be a daily thing for, given how many systems I've got, probably 3 or 4 months, because I know people like the system reviews, but they take a lot of time, and I know people would actually like to look at these systems a bit better than when I'm just panning the camera around and saying here's one of these and here's one of these. So I will give a quick closer look, talk a little bit without going into massive detail. It will be an overview. So that's going to be coming up. I know it has been noticed that I've been doing a different kind of video recently. It wasn't actually a plan, it's just kind of happened, where I play a fairly open-ended game, some kind of sandbox or first-person shooter or whatever, and just talk and go blah blah, and it's kind of nonsense and whatever. And I'm going to do more of them. I don't know how often, every week, maybe do one, I don't know, but they seem to be working quite well. People seem to like them. I like doing them, so there are going to be more. Yeah, that's that. There will obviously still be all the usual gameplay videos that you used to. I will keep doing them. I will keep doing the Friday Talkie. Next week, I'm on holiday. I am going with Andrea, my wife, to... where are we going? We're going to Southport, which is weird because we have to go a bit north. No idea what it's like. Well, I've seen photos and it looks nice. So yeah, we're going to Southport. All those really dodgy people who think, yes, he's gone, right, let's go and burgle him. No, the place will be occupied. So there. And there are 2 very big dogs. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know if any of you lot are in Southport. I'm not going to say, hey, message me, we'll meet up. But, you know, you might see me wandering down your street and think, that can't be Steve. Well, it might just be. I'm trying to think now. There are so many things to talk about. And I'm not organised because I'm actually... edit something. I will do a shout out now. Okay then, this week's shout out is One Go Short Play. As a rule, I like channels that do gameplay videos with commentary, and this doesn't do that. As a rule, I don't really have an interest in videos, gameplay videos that are pure gameplay with no commentary. That generally doesn't work for me. This is a channel where it is just pure gameplay with no commentary, and why then does this channel work for me? And it's not an entirely easy question to answer. I think part of it is in the title, One Go Short Play. He will play the game for one life. If he loses a life, that's it. End of play, which keeps it short. And if he doesn't lose a life, he doesn't play for longer than 10 minutes. So you're always getting a short, concise video. And this appeals to me because it's on the Amiga. These are Amiga games. and there are thousands and thousands of Amiga games out there, most of which I haven't played. So I know there are loads of other Amiga channels out there, and if I wanted to see a specific game, I could just go to one of them and hey presto, there it is. But what I like about this is I don't know a lot of these games. I don't know what stuff to go out and look for. I generally don't go out and look for anything. But I really like that on a regular basis, every day maybe. Yeah, it looks like daily, maybe 2 a day sometimes. In my subscriptions box, hey presto, there is an Amiga game that I've probably never heard of and I don't know what it looks like. So I might sit there and think, oh, I wish there was some commentary. But I am finding games that I've never heard of, never seen, and I can look at them quickly, not have to sit and there's no long drawn out, here's how to play this game. It is just, here's what it looks like. And I can look at those and decide, do I want to get this game? Is this good? Is this my cup of tea? And I think that's great. You know, he's doing something that initially you might think that's not unique, that's been done 100 times over. Well, I don't know. You know, there are lots of sites, channels out there that do just straight pure gameplay with no commentary. But are they putting out a game for a great system every day, twice a day, whatever, with this short play format? I don't know. And actually I don't care. I like this one. So I've subscribed, and I've been subscribed since I first noticed him, which was round about when he subscribed to me, I think. Because I do actually check every single person who subscribes to me. I look at their channel to decide, do I want to sub to them? Are they doing something that I'm interested in? Well, he is. He's also he's a friendly, pleasant chap. He's commented on my stuff, and you know, thoroughly nice guy. Do I know his name? I don't think I do. No. But either way, great channel, well worth checking out. If you want to see some good Amiga games, you know, on a regular basis, maybe find something new that you haven't heard of, go and have a look at his channel. He's on 26 subscribers at the moment. Hopefully I can send him a few more. There you go. One Go Short Play. Link down there. Let's turn this around. Okay. That, I think, is all of the gaming stuff that I wanted to talk about. I kind of have the feeling there were other things and I've forgotten what they were. But I do know there is one thing I need to talk about, probably to allay one or two people's fears, because I've kind of alluded to a certain thing on Twitter on a few occasions, and it's also why I was late today. Why was I late today? I was at the hospital. I was going to the cardiology department, and I'll tell you the story. About 20 years ago, I was getting chest pains right there and pain down my left arm, and I thought, oh Jesus Christ, I'm having a heart attack. So I went and saw my doctor, and he did all the usual stuff, gave me an ECG, listened through his stethoscope and said, no, you're fine. That's muscular. You've got bad posture. And I have. This shoulder sits lower than this shoulder. Don't know if that's the muscles pulling the skeleton out of shape, or the skeleton pulling the muscles out of shape. But either way, it causes me pain. And that, you know, I've had that for 20 years. I can put up with the pain. It's no big deal at all. Saw a physiotherapist for a bit, and it kind of helps. Anyway, it was like 20 years later, and I'm still getting the pain, and I thought, well, it would be silly of me to assume after all this time that pain is muscular without getting it checked, just in case. You know, I'm of an age where, you know, at 23 or whatever, it seemed improbable that it would be a heart problem. At 43, you kind of have to have it checked, I think. That's what I decided anyway. I was going to have it looked at again, just to be on the safe side. So I went along to the doctor, and they plugged me into the ECG machine. The doctor looked at it and thought, that looks fine, but the machine's hooked into a computer which will give its report or its opinion, and it said there might be a minor problem here. And the doctor's like, well, I can't see anything wrong at all, but to be on the safe side, we'll send you to the cardiologist at the hospital, and they can give you a echocardiogram, which is a completely different thing. It's not measuring the electronic business. It's an ultrasound. They ultrasound your heart and have a look at it. So I went along this morning expecting to have the echocardiogram, but it wasn't in the end. I saw the cardiologist and he basically started from scratch. Asked me all about like my history, and I told him the story I've just told you. So he gave me another ECG, had a look at that, didn't seem particularly perturbed by it. If there was anything he saw on it, he didn't tell me. He just said, okay, then we'll get you in for an echocardiogram and put you on a stress test as well, put me on a treadmill whilst hooked up to an ECG, I imagine. So I didn't even ask if he saw anything abnormal on there. My blood pressure is up a little bit, my cholesterol is up a little bit, so I'm assuming they're being thorough. Probably the machine is saying something. He certainly didn't appear alarmed. I think they're being thorough. I'm not worried. So that's that really. I will keep you informed when I come to get... I mean, I'm waiting for an appointment for the echo and the stress test thing. But that's what that's all about for anyone who's been at all worried. I don't think there's anything major going on. I think if there had been anything major, he would have said something right there and then. They're just being thorough. And I'm repeating myself. Yeah, okay. Well, I've done what's coming up. So that's kind of it, really. I'm going on holiday. There will be the collection video will be up after I come back. Oh, yes, while I'm on holiday. If I get the chance, this weekend, I'm going to record some gameplay videos and upload them this weekend, but set them as private. So then while I'm on holiday, I will have limited internet access through my dongle. Whoa. Yeah. Certainly not enough bandwidth or anything like that to upload videos. But if they're already uploaded, all I've got to do is click a button to set it public from private. So you'll then be able to have a gameplay video during the week while I'm away. That's the plan. Whether or not it works, don't know. I will be entirely reachable on Twitter, assuming I've got a decent phone signal. I usually do. Yeah. I think that's everything. I think I've missed stuff out that I had planned to do and can't remember. That's because I'm disorganised. I don't work from a script. I was telling myself last night, you need to write all this down because it needs to be organised and formatted in structured something, and then I just couldn't be bothered. So I sit here and do it off the top of my head and fail. Who cares? Thank you for watching.